Hey, this is Brett Kitchen with Safe Money Millionaire. And most people don't like to look in the mirror financially because of what they see. And right now what they're seeing is their 401ks, their mutual funds, and their retirement getting decimated by the market. The reason why we created Safe Money Millionaire and wrote the book is because too many people are having their entire wealth, their retirement, their 401ks, their mutual funds totally destroyed and decimated by the market turmoil and the economic problems in this country and across the world. What happened to us about 10 years ago is we learned the hard way that following the status quo can get you burned big time. When I got started at the company, I was kind of the main guy. I was doing really well, and then Ethan showed up and we kind of became mortal enemies. I like to win. I'm a competitor, and Ethan showed up with a lot of excitement about taking over the top spot. And so I started competing against him to be the producer of the year, and literally we became mortal enemies and hated each other.
I remember the first day that I showed up at the office, 6'3" guy walking around like he owned the place. And yeah, I'll be honest, I wanted to knock him off that top spot. And so we got a little bit competitive. And Richard, who we were using as the name for our boss at that time, he kind of fed me some information that helped me be a little bit more competitive.
And part of it was because our boss encouraged us to hate each other. He thought it would be a good idea to have us competing, and therefore we would both want to sell more and we would make more money for him because of that. And so as we went along, I actually had a really valuable marketing piece that I was using to get a lot of clients, and I found it in Ethan's folder at one of our conference meetings. And I went into Richard, I'm just going to use the term Richard. I went into Richard's office just absolutely furious. I demanded that he do something about Ethan stealing my stuff. And he told me he'd take care of it, and so I didn't really believe that was going to happen, so I decided to take matters into my own hands. And so what I did was I ran a stakeout. My buddy and I, who worked at the same place as I did, we had another really valuable resource that was bringing us a lot of money, a lot of clients, and we knew that everybody in the office knew about it and would probably want to get their hands on it. And so one night we actually set up a stakeout, a sting operation, and laid the bait for Ethan, because if Ethan was stealing my stuff, then I knew he was going to steal this tool that we had. And so we laid it out on the desk. Aaron, my buddy, his job was to sit on top of the filing cabinet in the corner and monitor Ethan's moves, and when Ethan went for it, I was stuck in the corner in the dark filming with my camera, and I was going to capture the whole thing on camera so I could prove to my boss that Ethan was stealing my stuff, and then he'd be toast. He'd be gone forever. Turns out that we were crouched in the corner in the dark for about 2.5 hours, and Ethan walked by back and forth several times, saw the book, never touched it, never even really took a second look at it, and at the end of the night left and locked up. After I watched the entire stakeout and Ethan never touched the stuff, I started to question whether or not Ethan was really doing anything wrong at all. And we got together, started talking about it, and found out our boss was actually lying to us about each other, trying to foster competition so that we would sell more and make more money. And in the end, it really created an opportunity where before we had been fierce competitors, kind of at each other's throats, we came together and realized, hey, just because your boss is supposed to be looking out for your best interest, just because that's the conventional wisdom, that doesn't mean that's the case. And in fact, in this case, it was just the opposite. And so for me, realizing that just following what everybody tells you to do, following the status quo, following the Wall Street propaganda machine, it doesn't serve you, because that information, that propaganda is for their own best interest. And when you follow it, you're really getting sucked into what we see now being the Wall Street roller coaster.
fortunately we were able to become friends. And over this period of time, my personal life, I realized that following the status quo wasn't the smartest thing to do with my money either, because I had a love affair with Mr. Market. When I was a very young kid, I bought my first mutual fund at the age of 14. Throughout my whole teenage years, I bought every book I could possibly think about. I traded options, futures, everything that you could possibly think about, I tried and did. Made some money, but I lost a lot. And in 2008, I had 1% of my portfolio at risk at the stock market, and I lost a huge portion of it. And if you were there and you experienced that, you probably know what I'm talking about here. It was gut-wrenching. And I said, I never want that to happen to me again. I want to be able to know that my money is going to continually grow steady without losing all of it. Because in order to get it back and make even more money, it's such a huge gap to be able to do that. That's one of the main reasons we wrote Safe Money Millionaire. See, I had my breakup with Mr. Market, and I know you may have had that experience as well, like many other Americans. And so if you're tired of losing your money to the stock market roller coaster, and if your love affair is over with Mr. Market, like mine is completely over, and you'd like to talk to someone who's not going to break your heart, we can help you out. All you have to do is request a blueprint, and we can talk to you, listen to your questions, give you answers, and help you to get on the path to become a safe money millionaire.